evening, y'all. How are you doing, Misha? Let's get it going. How are you doing, Misha?
Good. Hello, everyone in the chat. Hello, Cool Gamer.
Hey, cool
Thank
gamer.
y'all for coming in and hanging with us. This was a crazy reunion, but
Yeah,
we gonna get into
yeah.
it.
This was a crazy. This was a lot of. This was fun. Anyway. Misha got the pictures this time. Okay, so there was infidelity at some point. So there was infidelity at some point. Yes, that's what she asked. Um, what do you think of that? I know that what do you got? Shay and Fonzie, they're our most evolved couple as far as
Yeah.
have come from somewhere and we feel like they've gotten to a good place. But
So we thought.
to
So we
me,
thought.
right. To me,
Hi, Sharon.
I'm still side eyeing Alfonso. I'm side eyeing him with the kids, and I really think that he really still just he likes pomp and circumstance, which is not a bad thing. He really wants to dote on your woman and everything. But are you more interested in the wedding than the actual relationship, than the actual marriage and the longevity? Go ahead, Nish.
I felt like so this whole conversation made me think that things aren't really where they appear to be, or as far as like evolving or evolution, if you want to call it, on Fonzo's end. I think Shay did a good majority of the work, but at the same time, why do you keep coming back? Why do you leave and come back? Why it's like now it's a cycle of where you break up, then you come back. And I just felt like this whole come to Jesus moment was recent.
Yep.
I'm like, if this was in the beginning when they first met, and what you talking about, it was back in the day.
Yes. I'm
Like
so
y'all
glad
been
you.
together less than 3 years, and you talking
Yes.
about it was back in the day. No, it was yesterday, okay? Because my whole thing, I think that it was something recent, and I think it was something that she questioned him about, and he denied it. And even when she was on the show, when she would say, I think he was cheating, I think this, she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's assuming that's like she has no proof. Like he did that whole thing with her. So then to come back and say, well, I did do something, I would be pissed off too. That would make me want to leave too, because it's like you made me question myself. You made me question my judgment, my intuition when you were foul.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's exactly what I wanted to bring up because first of all, this back in the day, bro, you only been together 3 years, but you tried to stop making it sound like it was 15, 20 years ago. Uh,
Right.
yeah, just like the guy on social media now, he's like, well, I cheated, but we've been married for 10 years. I cheated when we first got together in the first 3 months, but we've been married for 10 years. No, that's not it. Back in the day, does not mean the same thing that you're trying to sugarcoat it. One. And two, I totally agree with you what you just said about her. It was kind of a gaslight because her making her think that she was crazy or something like that because she has been bringing up these little instances like being at the club and these girls following him or some girl asking him for money and him just giving it, all of these little things. So she may have asked him about it and he said, okay, so what was really going on was so
Right.
you had so there was some truth to what you just so what you thought. And so now, and I agree that it was probably like what 2 weeks ago or between this whole leave and come
Was
back.
it Tanisha? Was it the girl sitting on the stage? Because I saw him make a little face when um Egypt said, could Alfonso resist you? And she really didn't answer the question, because then Egypt answered and asked another question right after, which made me, and then if you saw Alfonso kind of look, how he gets that nervous look, I saw it on his
Mhm.
face. So I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if it was Tanisha though. That's a good. I mean, that's a good observance, but or maybe even one of the other girls, because he did have
Watch
three
it.
one dates, the three one-on-one dates, but she was the only one-on-one date that he had twice. So that's interesting. I don't know about that being her, but I think any of those other women that he could have been with, it might have been them. Um, or any of these scenarios. She said that Alfonso really just told everything. We sat down and he just admitted everything. So that makes me think that maybe it was something else. Maybe it was one of the many other that
But
he is
it seems
involved
like
with.
it seemed like she got a dresser full of incidents and she can just pull
Yeah,
any card and talk about something that's happened that's made her question his faithfulness.
true. I
So
just mean
it
true.
could have he could have been sitting there for days, child, just
Oh,
going on and on.
talking about writing a book. Like he probably, and then I did this and then I did that. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So
That's yeah. Then
he,
to say you're getting married in October, that was where I was
mhm,
like, huh? So you left, you
within this last
separated. It's
week,
like this whole spouse, and then now y'all separated. No, you broke up. You left the relationship.
you left the
You
relationship.
you are not married. You cannot separate
And
from someone you were just dating.
and Misha, if you ever come to me and say you got a husband, you
Oh
got
my
a husband,
god,
what? You don't have a husband. This is not your spouse.
child,
Stop it. And
they're
so
separated.
yeah, I do have to give it to her. Like she is her makeup has always been on point. Like
Yes,
yeah,
she's
she
always be
yeah.
always dressed. I give her that.
She knows how to bring it. She knows how to bring it. Whew, good. But so I'm just wondering. I'm kind of counting the months on this one, but that's just me. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, thank y'all for joining us so far. Make sure you let us know what you're thinking in the comments.
Please do.
And so let's
Well, I actually thought that they would be cute. Where were you surprised that Alfonso was available to resist? She said, "Yes, I was surprised because I'm irresistible." Of course, she's gonna say that. I'm
right.
irresistible too, damn it. I'm irresistible too. So whatever. Like, yeah. I actually liked her hair too and her outfit too. It was very pretty. It was very cute.
Yes.
Her and Asar, and I have to comment on this. The type of the type of people that they brought Alfonso to date in the beginning, I was really questioning, they think that he likes this type or whatever. And then you
Mhm.
get to her, and you get to, yeah, basically her. I said, he needs somebody, if you're going to tempt him, that carries himself a little bit more like Shay. But in the beginning,
I felt that too. I think they thought he's Rick Ross's manager. He likes video hoes. He likes the XXL Vibe magazine cover ladies. And hey, hi, Vibe. Hi, Anissa. I think yeah, because there was a type. They were sending him just Instagram model after stripper after bottle girl. It was, and that's yeah. I agree 1000%.
yeah. But Asar and I know that that's why they brought them two on. I actually think that he probably shot his shot much more earlier than in the dressing room. Um, hey,
Hi,
Daddy.
Thaddeus. I my whole thing about that, I because this is what I felt about Egypt overall. Because first of all, I'm like, how did Egypt know to ask about that? So I kind of feel like I guess we'll get into it now because as a host, I felt like her lenses were kind of fogged by production, whoever else is on set just feeding her things that's going on set. So there was like certain things I'm like for this for instance, how did she even know to ask, "Oh, well, did you guys connect in the back in the dressing room?" Like she didn't ask anybody else that. But my whole thing is kind of like a coworker. You have those coworkers that you meet at the little water jug and you do your little tea, you know who to talk to at work to get the tea. So it kind of felt like Egypt has her coworkers who she got the tea from, and she was basing certain judgments, certain questions off of that versus what was actually presented on the show. Because even when we get into Kenneth and Shorty later, I'm like, how do you say that Shorty brought him on the show to oh my god,
Humiliate.
humiliate him? And how do you know to ask Asar and Tanisha, did they connect in the green room? Like,
I will
unless
give you
somebody was running, like,
I will give
running
you
back and
this, that
telling you.
and just like that's what the producers do. I'm sure they fed her
Right.
information, so knew where to lead the questions down, what road to lead the questions down. So and questions and the conversation down. So yes, I
Right.
will give you that. Even with the to every in every scene, this scene with Charlie and Otis and all the scenes. Um and to move the show along. Thank goodness this show is not a two episode, because I would
Yes.
not have been able to make it. So I'm
We
glad.
could have used one though, because there was a lot of tea being
Well,
spilled. But
I
hey,
also, and I'll get into this now as well, and this is what I was saying to Misha before we came on. I believe that a lot of this was edited out. Like that, we'll see later that what's his name brought a whole piece of paper with, I guess, his receipts. And I'm like, he didn't say any of that. No, he said it. They just cut it out. Like
mhm.
he read from that letter or from whatever note he had, but they just cut it out. So I think that there's more. But I like Egypt Sherrod. I like her as I don't know, maybe because I've liked her in
I've
other.
liked her previously. This
Well,
particular reunion, I wasn't
so
there
here's the
for.
thing. Maybe you didn't. I like her as because I watched her on HGTV and
Hmm.
other things.
Yeah.
So maybe in this role you didn't like her, but as because I know her, like she used to be a radio host and she's a real estate agent. Like the other things she does, I like her and other things she does. Maybe in this part, it just looked like it was produced, which we all both agree on that this show is heavily produced. So
I think she's a good host. I can just see where her judgment was tainted by other people behind the scenes versus just watching the show and creating her own
So,
opinion
so
off
this
of base.
I will agree with you on this though, but just unfortunately, unlike Nephew Tommy, where he's been with that show since the beginning, and he has a little bit
Right.
more leeway to say what he really thinks, because
Hmm.
this is her only first or second? No, this is her second season doing this. She doesn't feel like she's got the leeway to say what she really thinks. She's got to just do what she's told as the host, just as the host. Just kind of like what's her name when nephew Tommy had the COVID, had a like a
Yeah.
and the girl had to come in and just host. It's like that they just brought me in to host. I feel like it was that, and later on she'll be able to, when she's doing some more, she'll be able to do more. Anyway, let's move on. Whew.
Okay, so let's get in to Milan and Chris. This, first of all, we'll talk about Chris. They won't get to the good stuff because when they play back the clip, because I watched Charlana's live and she said she felt that Chris got the player narrative and he's not
Mhm.
that, he's a nice guy. And when they played the clip back, I'm like, girl, you said that. You said he was giving you player vibes, first of all. So it's like, why? We'll get into Charlotte and Otis, but I was just like, you're the one that kind of gave that narrative, and plus the Odell Beckham hairstyle gave him that as well. But I'm like, you kind of push that narrative as far as other narratives on the relationship as well, which you're trying to act like now are just a joke or whatever. But anyway, let's get into Milan. What do you think about Milan and these receipts? And Otis DM'd her, met her in a parking lot, said she got big juicy lips and he want to give her a massage to 90s music. What do you think?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Usually I'm asking you, what did you think about this? Because I really want to hear what you thought about this. But I think that part of this is true. I think that Otis loved to say, well, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. These are the rules. And he set the and even what do you call it? Charlie, more the reason why she was mad is because he kept putting all of these rules and restrictions on her, but then he felt like he can go ahead and do whatever. So um the DMing, we knew, and we even said this a couple weeks ago. We only saw one DM, but there was more to it, right? And so I was like, there now I do think Otis being Otis, and you've said so many times that this man is not expressive. I was like, when he said, I don't even talk like that. I said that there is something to that. I don't know that I would. I don't know that I picture him saying that. So I might give you that one. I might give you that one.
Mm,
But I think that he did all of that, and then when he found out, because I feel like he mentioned that in the little when they the therapy session, oh, we work close to each other or whatever. I feel like he said something like that. And then when she said that we met at a parking lot because we work close by to each other, I said, now that app, I believe that more happened. I'm sorry, I believe that more happened. You cannot tell me that man just DM'd you the one time
yeah.
because you guys have friends in common, and then um him saying, well, did you think that, because I think that when the cameras are on, he specifically, he wants to project this idea that he's non-expressive, as you said last time, and that he's one type of person while the cameras are on. But
Jughead.
he's really he's there's more to him. There's more to him. I'm sorry. I believe a lot of this, and Milan's got more receipts than we know. I'm
Yeah,
talking. I
she.
said, and also, I'm sorry. Do you
Go
have another?
ahead.
Do you have another clip of Purple and Purple? Do you have another
Well,
clip
I'll
of?
show them next. So let's get
Okay,
into
okay.
that.
Yeah, Milan, she was very much saying, woman to woman, I'm trying to let you know this, da, da, da. And I'm like, Milan, why didn't you do this before though? You had 6 weeks, pregnant or not, you could
She
have.
really couldn't. Here's the thing. Our fellow YouTuber, Chloe Johnson, had a sit
Mm-hmm,
down with Milan
mm-hmm,
today, and it brought a lot of clarity. And one of the things Milan said is she felt like Otis was very much a narcissist. And she said herself, he very much reminded her of one of her exes. So she she says that she was coming to Charlana more on a, I want to warn you. I want to like stop you from making like the same mistake I made in that type of relationship. But Charlana was on some messy stuff. So that's when she just left it there. But at the same time, not Charlana, Milan wanted camera time.
mm-hmm.
And she wanted to keep getting the dates. She didn't necessarily, she could see the mind games because he was playing some mind games with Milan. He was playing some mind games. And it's like, just say what you're interested in. Like, don't. He was talking about, well, he did say the juicy lip thing. She proved that. He said something like, next time I see you, give me a real hug and not that church hug. And he was, yes. And he was saying some stuff to her. It was clear he was trying to smash. But my thing is, how did y'all get to a parking lot? Because I didn't met somebody in a parking lot before, and it wasn't to say hello or to give a church hug. But anyway, I
Because they
will say
work close by. Because they were, oh, where do you work? Oh, you work right around the corner. Why don't you come meet me in the Publix parking lot? That's it. And that doesn't surprise. None, the parking lot does
But
not.
I would not meet someone in a parking lot. I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
Regard like
Salon.
back in the day, I did because I was on a different tip. I was, hey,
But she wanted to see where is this going. And I will say this: I do agree with you on this, because woman to woman, if I wanted to tell you that your man was doing dirt, you show or not. I would not have waited 6 weeks. I would, so she did it to get the camera time. I agree with you on that because she could have done this way before now. So, because
But
even
she
she could have
what
done this after he said that I DM'd her the one time. He had
Charlana
plenty
messaged
of time.
her after that and said, "Did he DM you?" And she said yes. And
Hmm.
then she said, "Okay, well, we filmed today, and Otis didn't have nice things to say about you." And Milan was like, "He didn't have nice things to say about you either, because he the same. It's like the same type of tactics he's doing with Charlana. He was trying to do with Milan.
Hmm.
My whole thing,
I don't put nothing past Otis, and I know that everybody's saying, "Well, he's very non-expressive and all this stuff." I think to me, uh,
it's a
some men,
game. It's a
yeah, it's a
front.
game
It's a
to
tactic.
me, and that's what I've always said. This, I said, this his just like him squeezing his eyes like that to pretend that he's crying. You listen, you are not that good of an actor, and I don't believe anything you and your lavender suit is saying. So I just to me, I and
Yeah.
all yeah.
I 1000% believe Milan. I'm just to say
So
you didn't. Okay, I get it, but I don't. Like, I get she wanted
right,
camera time and she was trying to get the extra date. But to continue the conversations and say that you had no interest in him
and
and
she wanted to see
blah
where
blah
this is
blah.
going.
And my whole thing, he was doing a lot just to smash.
Hmm.
Ultimately, that's all he and he said that him and Charlana are not in a relationship, they're just friends, and that they were just on the show to get some, like, some exposure. And so I'm like, well, how
Y'all,
the baby get here?
right, right. Y'all, I had a day today, so I did not see. I'm gonna have to rewatch them.
Exactly.
I had a
I
day.
High Vibe. High Vibe said meeting in a parking lot says a lot about
Mhm.
Milan as well. That's what I, as Otis, and what that moment was about. Exactly.
Yeah,
I have. I'm not trying to tell my business, but at a certain age, I was meeting
the parking
at
lot thing was.
midnight in the parking lot, and ducking when I saw lights. But you have to have a certain motive to meet someone in a parking lot. That's all I'm gonna say.
Even if they didn't do anything nefarious in that parking lot, the fact that they met in that parking lot, and to
Yes,
me, it
that's
says.
like equivalent to next Netflix and chilling to me.
Mm,
Like, if you don't want to have sex with somebody, do not go over their house and say you want to watch Netflix with them.
hmm.
So if you didn't want to have sex with Otis, that wasn't your motive, your intention. Why go and meet him in the parking lot?
Because they work close together.
Oh my god.
No, yeah, I hear what you're saying because to me, uh, when the texting or DMing one time is one thing, but keeping it
And
going,
he was letting her
I think
know that
he
he's
was.
attracted to her. He wanted to take things
Mhm.
further. So why meet in the parking lot if you were so disgusted by him?
Yeah, they no, I don't think that she was disgusted by him. I think that I agree with what she said that he was more into me than I was to him.
But
Uh,
another thing is when Charlotta said, "Well, why were y'all in the parking lot?" I'm like, "Bitch, because you in the house. That's
mhm,
what."
because you ain't there, because you're not there. Because this would make sense because if Charlana knew that he was in that parking lot, that makes sense. He works around the corner, so that of course. But I also, you don't have to be doing having sex to be meeting somebody in the parking lot. But the fact is, you kept it going because she wanted to see where this was going. I also agree with her by when she said he liked me more than I liked him. He was really wanting to see where he could go get how far he could get with me.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
definitely.
I there's so much I want to say about this. One, Otis, I just he was like, I think, and I hate this, I want to say it a certain way. I don't want to call it that he trapped her. I don't want to say it that way, but
A
you know
spade is a spade.
I know Y'all, I try to, but to me, how many times this girl was second guessing this relationship. And then, well, Otis wants to have kids right away. And I said this last week, like when a woman hears that she's already feeling a certain way and she's already gone back and forth for 3 years with this man, that to me says he loves me. He loves me. It doesn't say that. It's not that, girl. It's not. So, and I said this last week, but you knew you were doing dirt, whether it was with Milan or whoever, and now you've got this ring on this girl's finger, and now she's pregnant. Um, and we've been reading that it sounds like they're not together. That it sounds like that they're not
Mhm.
together. But
He still very
he
much
still
has
wanted,
control over her because he in
yes,
the
he still
comments on
wanted
the
that
live
control.
telling
He,
her what not to say and stuff. So
yeah, he still wanted that control. He still wanted to have that narrative. Um, I think there was so much here that says to me, um, also when I remember last week, that I'm trying to get my words back. Remember when last week I said, so when do y'all think that the conception was it when she walked out in that polka dot 50s dress, or or when he pretend cried and did like and squeezed his eyes together, like, because they said it was towards the end. So I was really trying to, and she's in her 6th month now, and she said it was towards the end of filming.
that's
So
when they
I'm like,
found out. So she could have
oh,
very
that's what
much
I found
well
out.
been pregnant the whole time. So
Good point. Good point. Good point. I think that I think that she walked out in that white polka dot 50s dress, and he said, "Okay, I'll fix her." He said, "I'll fix her." I'm sorry. I think that there's so much, and he's like, "I know I messed up." Or right around the time that he was texting and DMing old girl, he said, "Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this. I'm gonna have to flip this." Yep, because he knew it was gonna come back at him. I'm sorry. I just. Mm, when and I know you've been saying all season how you agree with Otis and you agree with Otis, but I just think that there's something more to him. There's something more.
I don't, it's not even that I'm in agreement with him as a person. I feel like there's truth to the things that he was saying about Charlana. But this whole like 1972 prom get up was like so distracting. And I never knew Otis' head was that big. I never knew his head was that big. But like High Vibe said, called him Jughead. He was given very much Jughead. I was like, good Lord, bless Charlana's cervix, because that head, child, bless her cervix. My goodness. But I here's the thing. They both try to say they got a bad edit. When you get a bad edit, when you really feel like they portrayed you wrong, that's you come to the reunion to clarify, to bring some type of insight that isn't known. But for them to sit there and we love each other and we're happy and we're bringing a beautiful baby and it was planned, and it's like you like y'all might gaslight each other, but y'all not about to gaslight us. We can see through that. So I didn't like that they came on the reunion and didn't clarify anything but want to play like the bad edit role. And I'm just like, I was over them because they gave
Yeah,
nothing new. They gave nothing new, no insight,
we're
nothing.
happy, and we're engaged, and let's move on. And Otis, it was just all a joke, and that was editing, and he really didn't mean it like that. I was like, girl, this man told you to go take a shower. And honestly, and Egypt did say that was really rude. Like, why would you say that? And he was like, oh, I just, I don't even remember him like saying anything towards that. To me, there's just so much here that just was not explained to
Well,
me.
she did a live and she said that it was a joke. When
What was the joke?
when he told her to take a shower was a joke, and are you kidding me? Do you know who I am? If he was serious, you know what I would have did. I'm like, but you went to Dr. Nicole and cried and said he made you feel sad, and you like he made you feel this, that, and the other. And that's another thing. A lot of Otis tactics and things were followed by a reaction from Charlana, which,
Exactly.
so
It,
you can't play the bad edit role, because why were you in your feelings? Why did you feel away about the things that were being done? Because he was wrong.
hmm. That's interesting. Hi everyone. She was probably pregnant when she found out about the deep
Right.
gems. That's why she called
She
him a
did call him a
monster. She
monster.
did call
He
him a
do look
monster.
monsterish
Yeah,
though.
and honestly, the funny thing is, I think that Chris has a bigger forehead than Otis. So I really didn't
No.
go back to Chris's picture. Look at this.
No, he doesn't.
Go back one.
Uh-oh, I can't even.
It, look at that five
It
head.
is not that big.
Look at that five head. It doesn't matter. Like kids.
Lord, do you see that head? That is a big head. I'm just thinking, as a mother, I am just thinking about Charlotta's cervix, because I am like, Lord. Hi, Auntie.
Hi, Auntie. Hi,
What you
Auntie.
cooking, girl?
Just- Chris has a five head. I don't know. I think that, but either way, either way, I just
Let's
think that they
get
played Odell Beckham Jr. and the whole thing was just it was stupid. Okay, y'all, let's get into the get down to the get down. She begged me to
yes.
move to Columbus and be with her and
And
go
go 50
50-50.
50.
Okay, so first of all, Misha did cover a little bit about this, the look and what was going on with him on her show, but I really want to talk about this. So, one, this man had a couple of drinks before the show started. There's no, you cannot tell me otherwise. He had a couple of drinks because you know the drinking makes you sweat, right? And then under them lights on the reunion show, the camera is, I mean, the lights and everything's gonna make you sweat more. But this man, there's no way he and all that, the makeup that they put on him was just wiped off. You could see there were like little splotches of makeup here and another splotch here. I was like, oh God, Kenneth. Like you just, I mean, the makeup was all splotchy. Um, yeah, she kept the suits too. It was just he had that one cream suit that she put on top of the suitcase. He couldn't have dusted that one off, but no. So he had because make the because alcohol makes you sweat, and then stress, and then the lights, and the I mean, this poor guy was just and Egypt was like, I need you to calm down. I need you to calm down. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You yeah, nah, hell nah. This man, I mean, then the splotchy of makeup splotch here, and I was like, oh, Kenneth, what are you he going through it? He going through it. So yeah, let's get into but she said that I did this to to get him to leave. I was already there. I already knew that this was the end of a relationship. Uh, but he bought receipts, and we even said this that there was a we wanted a part two because I think that there was a lot being edited out of this. You cannot tell me that this man brought a paper full of stuff to read and he didn't read any of it. They cut all of that out. They cut all that out. This man was splotchy with all that makeup, and then he started breaking out on one side. It was bad. It was bad. Go ahead, Misha. I got more to say, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, these comments, but when he got up there with that tissue and was blotting all that sweat, I was like, what in the Whitney and Bobby is going on here? I mean, the man is struggling, okay? The man, I'm sure, has been struggling. He doesn't have a place to live anymore. He doesn't have a place to live. I watched Shorty's interview or tell all with Crystal XO, and she basically said production put him in a hotel after that cartwheel, chicken wing, drinking, taking the whole bottle straight to the head scene. Production moved him to a hotel So after, I'm pretty sure production ain't gonna just let him live in a hotel for the rest of his life. At some point, he had to get back on his feet. And I think that explains the get up. That's why he didn't have no suit. He thought he could wear them recycled 3D movie glasses and get away with a business casual look. And
Yes,
it didn't hit. It didn't land. It did not land.
he
It was
wasn't
giving
going
very
to.
much like he found some Old Navy at Goodwill. That's what it was giving. But
He didn't want to land though. Like this man has not worn a pair of glasses all season. He didn't want it to land. He didn't care. Yeah, go ahead.
I think because I did a video, did Shorty bamboozle him to being on the show? And I'm sticking with that. I think she did set him up. Here's the thing: two wrongs don't make a right. Everyone is trying to use the fact that she was stalking her and she couldn't leave the relationship without consequences instead of looking at the fact. I believe him when he says she cooked me meals, she gave me good sex to get me back in her good graces, to get me on the show. I believe that because she said in the interview she had him, she was living in a house where you could just walk up, and he was my okay. This interview was good, y'all, because Shorty has a son, and Kenneth was stalking the son too. And anytime Shorty, the son would drop Shorty off at work, Kenneth was going up to the son and handing him money and blah blah blah. I just want to let you know I'm still around. You know, I haven't forgot about you, that type of thing. And so she moved to this high-rise condo like Darian from last season, where there's a bell person who lets you in and out, so she felt she was safe. So I'm like, if you have the high rise condo and he can't get to you, why did you need to bring him on the show to get rid of him? That's my thing. But I guess she wanted to make sure he was gone for good. So, but from my understanding, they were already broken up. They were already. So why did you? So how did you get him in your good graces to come on this show, put a ring on it? And that's the thing. The show is called Put a Ring on It. People come on the show because they want to get married or want to see if that's a possibility. So I feel like Shorty, you sent him a message as if there's still hope when you knew good and well there wasn't. So that's why I can say she did set him up, in the sense that you're bringing him on the show with the with giving him the thoughts. And even in the scenes where she's saying, oh, is that my intern taking my man on a date? And then you tell him after the second date with Maisha that, oh, I want to work out my relationship with Kenneth. Why would
Right.
you say that? Why are you saying that on the show if you knew your whole intention was to leave him on the show? So
So I have a question for you then, because well, a couple things. Who said it up here? Crystal, do you really think it was just alcohol? Good point. It might have been more.
child,
That's a good point. But secondly, Shorty did say she did say something. She needed to clarify something else. That he took her bank statements, took pictures of the bank statements. It wasn't the bank statements, and she said I did say that wrong. It was her banking information. So he took a picture of her, the front of her a credit card, the front and the back. That's still stealing. Like he took pictures of that um in order to do something like that. But then let me ask you a question then. So she just said he calls me and texts me to this day, right now. He's still
yes,
calling and texting me. So if he's feels that he's been bamboozled, set up, and he just said, I learned a new word during this social
emasculated
media
child.
emasculation. I was like, oh. So so what do you really think that this man is, if he feels like he's been bamboozled, set up, led astray, that
On
he's
the show, just strictly for the show, because the show is called Put a Ring on It. So if you knew good and well, I just feel like a man like him, he takes, you give him a centimeter, he takes the whole football field. So if you're telling him that you're going to go on a show called Put a Ring on It, then I feel like and he's already shown you signs that he's a stalker, that he sabotages. I just feel like it's opening up another door of expectation from him. But what I will get into is, what is her name? Egypt, talking about she brought him on the show to humiliate him. That's what I want to get into, because although Shorty did down talk him and she was condescending, she did not make him take pictures of her bank records. She did not make him take bottles of wine to the head and do cartwheels. So I'm like, at what point does this show hold Kenneth accountable for his actions? Because he's not right. I said two wrongs don't make a right. So I feel to an extent they're both wrong in this relationship. They both have areas that they are wrong. If Shorty felt like this was the only way she can get rid of Kenneth, then okay. Hey, all right. But at the end of the day, he did things that were wrong, and the camera saw them. So to say that Shorty brought him on the show to humiliate him, he's a grown man who did his own actions. So I don't understand how that's Shorty's to blame for the things he did on TV.
Um, I do agree with you that I don't agree with you that he's a grown man. I mean, I think that physically he's a grown man, but mentally, this he needs a
I agree,
lot of
Thaddeus.
help. And I think that, yeah, Thaddeus, I definitely put your statement up
Mm-hmm.
there for a reason. But
Mm-hmm.
she, I know a lot of women think that, oh, I need to resort to drastic measures to get this man away from me. I don't think that this was the drastic measure she needed to resort to. I also believe that just because you think that you're doing your whatever you do, you don't know how somebody else is going to react. So I hear what you're saying,
Right,
that like,
exactly.
um oh well, we're doing this for this, I'm doing this for this reason, you assuming that he was going to act right. And I
Exactly.
remember her at her one meeting with the ladies when they had dinner, and she said, I just really want him to understand that he is not my enemy, or he and I, whatever happens, he and I are not enemies. And I was like, why would she have said that? You understand what I'm saying? When they
Yeah,
weren't officially broken up yet. So this was really leading down a road already, and she had her own agenda. And whatever the agenda was, she didn't tell him what the agenda was. Just
exactly.
so she did not, and maybe he didn't, maybe he was the one that didn't ask the right questions before they came on. So this, I feel like this was probably kind of another Darian and what's her name
Yeah,
thing, because to me there was already a scenario. They had already dated for a while, broken up, uh, and she said, well, okay, well, let's do this thing. And maybe he thought we're doing this to get back together, but she said that you put that thing on me, yeah, like you laid that thing. Like, this
she
man,
you cooked me great meals, gave
yeah.
me.
So I'm just like, did you think one thing and she told you another? And so
So what was she doing? That was she cooking him meals and having sex with him to bring him on the show? Was she doing that? Because that sends the wrong message as well. And I agree with what you're saying about you, like she doesn't have control of how he responds, because it's kind of like a restraining order. Some men, their behavior is wrong, but then you file that restraining order. Now you done kick their behavior up 10 notches. Cause now they're like, she gonna get a restraining on me. I'm gonna show her. And now you dealing with something worse. And I feel like that's kind of what happened in this instance, because she did say she filed a restraining order, but she filed a restraining order and she even wanted to serve him an eviction notice, but because he don't have no address, she can't serve him any papers for anything. And on top of that, the man is in her house. So how do you serve somebody papers at your house?
So this was a living, breathing restraining order. So yeah, this was a living, breathing restraining order to get this man out of my house. Mm, yeah,
But like I said in my last slide, when you're doing something like a restraining order, they'll grant you something
yes,
temporarily
they
until
will.
you present more evidence to get a permanent one in place. And like she felt that if I bring him on the show, he does stuff on camera, that's hard enough evidence. And I think it will be in a sense if you're at the reunion and Egypt's telling him she does not want you calling her anymore, she does not want you showing up at her place anymore. You need to let it go. And he's saying, okay, okay, I get it. I feel like that should be enough evidence, hopefully. But I think that's kind of what she needed in this sense. It's okay. She got with a man that was not established. So it made it very, very difficult to do things the legal way. And like she acknowledged in her interview, she because they started out long distance, she told him to move here because he said he was already going to move here, and she
Mhm.
acknowledged she should have just told him to get his own place. She should not have offered up her place, especially with a child in the house.
Right. See, and that's why I don't know. I hear what you're saying, and I actually agree that, desperate times call for desperate measures, but I also think, why was this the desperate measure? Because you just don't know how somebody's going to react. Just because you're thinking one way, you could all tell from the beginning that this man was not, and I don't want to say mentally, but he was not uh where you wanted him to be. His character, the way he moved, was not where you wanted him to be. So how do you know how he's going to react and stuff? So it's just sad. It's just really sad that this is what she resorted to. But at the same time, I absolutely agree with you on this, though. Whatever conversation, as a woman, if I'm having a conversation saying that we're not ready for marriage and maybe we need to go our separate ways, that's not code for you to start drinking and doing cartwheels and laying on the couch and just acting the way you're acting. So Shorty didn't make him present himself like that. I do want to know, and I hear what you're saying with the scenarios that she gave um, Crystal XO. What was her what did she think that the result was going to be? What was her end goal? You understand what I'm saying? Was her
She
end goal was to
said
get him out of her life?
she was done. She knew she wanted out. She thought that at the most he would get counseling that can help him change his ways, and that she thought the dates would help him to see there's other women out there. I'm not your only option. You can move on. Like you'll be fine if this doesn't work. Speaking of moving on,
So she was okay. So she was doing this as a nice gesture. Okay, that's a little bit
no,
better than the other women.
her it seemed like 95% of her goal was to get out of the relationship and to
Okay.
get the proof that she needed.
Yes.
She thought that at the very least he would get counseling. He would
Okay.
get the help that he needs because obviously he needs help. Here's my thing. Maisha went on 2 dates with the man.
Mm-hmm.
2 dates. And
Mm-hmm.
she sat there and she said, the nigga is crazy. I don't want to move on to
He
any,
said that
I don't
he
want to
needs
pursue
help.
anything further
Mm-hmm.
with him. He needs guidance. He needs a little help. He needs to mature, all this different stuff. How could she see that from two
I don't
dates,
think it was 2 days.
but you went a whole year
Right.
before you saw certain red flags? So
Yes.
that's my point, is like, yes, Shorty was in an emotionally abusive relationship. She felt she couldn't leave. I get it. I feel sorry for her in that standpoint. But then you have to take accountability to say that there were certain, you allowed this to go on for longer than it should have. You shouldn't have been with a man like him. there should be some type of accountability, and I feel like Shorty has taken that accountability. But for the women who are triggered, they don't see that. They just see he's emotionally abusive, he's this, he's that. And I'm like,
Okay. Two things. Yes, Maisha said he needs some more mental help. He needs some work more to do more work on himself before he is ready for a relationship. But yeah, she did say he's crazy and he ain't the one, right? But I believe that they spoke after the show. You cannot tell me. I got the impression that either he tried to pursue something or he gave her a call and said, "I'm no longer with Shorty." You can't, I don't think it was those two dates that gave her that determination. And or it was, yeah, there's two dates, a couple of phone calls, and then she saw what we saw, and she said, "Oh no, I'm not dating him." So I think it was more than just that. That's what I think about Maisha. I do think that she probably did try to have a couple of dates with him afterwards. Um, I agree with you that Kenneth did, and he even admitted that he presented one way, and he kind of gave her the illusion that I was more established than I was more established. She said, or not she, Kenneth told said he admitted that yeah, I led her on to believe that I was in a different um, place than that in the beginning. So, and then she realized that no, that there's more to it. So, yeah, there's more to that. There's more to the whole thing. I hear y'all what you're saying about desperate times come from desperate measures, but you don't know how this man's gonna react, and he reacted like a straight
yes.
pass. So
I
yeah,
want to add something else.
we are in agreement to that. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
So, in this interview that she did with Crystal XO, she also shared that he high key like kidnapped his child from the mother. She shared that her when she got with him, she knew he had, I think he has a daughter or something. She knew he had a child, and her thing was, I don't want to be with a man that doesn't take care of his own children. So he was trying to play it up and trying to prove to her that he's a good dad. So he goes to the aunt of the child and says, I will take the child for the day and bring her back. He never brought the child back and took the child with Shorty back to their place for like a good old whole month. And so the mother's going crazy, like, where is my child? When is she like coming back home? And Crystal was like, so, and you still stayed with him. And it's like, and no, like it sounds so insensitive and it's not meant to be that way, but there's so many incidences where he's doing these crazy things and you still stayed with him. You still, so while she was in a emotionally abusive relationship, she also said he never hit her. She never feared that he was going to hit her. There was just certain situations where he's a bigger man. If he gets upset, I can't defend myself. That's what she felt. But still, there were some areas this relationship was abusive, but at some point, when do we say, okay, she could have did this, or she could have been more accountable, she made the wrong decision here, instead of, and maybe it's also because they didn't hold Kenneth accountable, that other people feel like they need to hold him more accountable instead of looking at both parties. But hey.
I my last thing I'm gonna say on this is one, they both need to be accountable for their part in this situation.
Right.
But I also think that some women, and I've said this before, we're so used to the toxicity, we're so used to
Right.
being treated a certain way that we don't recognize it and know when to get out of it. So because whatever past relationships we've been through, then we're like that the toxicity or the abusive tendencies and things like that, that feels right, that or doesn't, um we don't recognize it right away. And yeah, and that's why she kept staying, that's and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, and so that's one of the things, because when I watched it back, because y'all had to watch it the second time today, and I said, I think that maybe in previous relationships this was okay, this was trauma. Thank you. There's we're used to people that bring us trauma. We're used to the chaos. So that's the chaos is what we recognize, and so we keep with it.
Right.
And that's not right. And unfortunately, hopefully she's grown from this. Honestly, the only person that I've seen a little bit of growth from in this whole show is Shay. But I'm still side eyeing their relationship. Um, but she even admitted what we've been saying this whole time is that she brought him on the show to get him out of my life. To end it. She did. She admitted that on Egypt. So yeah, with on the reunion. So this was a lot. It was kind of, it's just, I'm hoping, and I don't know this to be true. This is my last thing I want to say this. I'm hoping that he learns from this, but at the same time,
Yeah.
when I see like these YouTubes, and when I see all of these
He
lives,
ain't learned a thing, and that's the sad part.
that's exactly what I was about to say. When I see all these lies and everything, I'm like, bro, you didn't learn a thing. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't learn a thing. So yeah, that's it. It's just sad. And actually, y'all, after this, Shorty is actually on LBB right now, so we gotta go check that out. See what she says on that. But
Yeah, but Kenneth has Candy Lady Baby Generation coming out.
oh
So
yes, that's what I
yeah.
wanted to say. Thank you for reminding me, Misha. Before the end of the show, is this our last slide?
Huh?
Is this our
Yeah.
last
Uh-huh.
slide? Okay, y'all, I just want you to know that Crystal, as a producer, I do not produce projects like or called Candy Lady Baby Generation. I don't know what that is. This new movie that Kenneth is doing, Candy Lady Baby Generation. I don't. Yeah, that ain't. That ain't. That ain't. That ain't my
Woo!
stuff. Candy Lady Baby
Bobby!
Generation. Hey,
That's what it was
look
giving.
at away!
I love you,
I'm
Bobby.
doing me. I got Candy Lady Baby Generation. I got a movie called Candy Lady Baby Generation coming out.
It was giving you better lay low. That's what it was giving. But I hope
Yes.
y'all enjoyed this reunion as much as we did. We had fun chatting with y'all throughout this whole season. Thank y'all for tuning in and giving us your thoughts consistently. Let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like the live. Anything else you want to
Yes.
add about this
No.
reunion?
Yeah. This is yeah, new things coming from both of us. And thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. And that's it. Another put a ring on it down. And you'll be seeing more from us very, very soon. Especially
Yes.
me. I got something special for y'all coming in July. So yeah. Okay. Good night, y'all.
Good night.